Are you like myself and you love the destruction power of the Titan itself, but you hate the same generic concentration builds over and over again? So I think I got you covered on this build. So recently I have been dominating the Grandmaster Nightfall with this unique concentration build that doesn't use the stoicism diaper looking exotic. Me personally, as a Titan main, I absolutely hate how this diaper looking exotic truly looks like. So I was thinking what is the next best thing I can use to be extremely powerful, destructive, and of course viable in in-game content if it comes to Destiny itself. But first of all, I want to say, if you do want to use this diaper looking stoicism armor sets, my advice for you is to farm the Spirit of Assassin and the Spirit of Synthesis. These are the two best generic perks that you can have within the diaper looking exotic that will truly grant you the most damage output and survivability and in-game content. To put it a little bit more in perspective, the Synthesis increases your melee damage by 165% for 5 seconds long while you're being surrounded. At the same time, the Spirit of Assassins, while you're doing melee kills, it grants you invisibility. So it brings you the level form of a hunter and into Titan stuff. A form of in-game content that can come extremely important. It's something that you could say there's a life or death situation that can save you. On the other hand, if you do not like using this diaper looking synthesis exotic, what I like to use is the next best thing. So this Titan exotic I like to use is synthesis. What this does, it grants me 50% increase in damage of my supers while I'm being surrounded. The thing is that how I constructed this build is that you can choose your super however you see fit. But the super I've chose is completely broken with this armor set, mods and everything around it. So on that note, let's talk about the build and the super that I'm using for this build itself. For this build, I'm using the one and only Thunder Crash. And this super is completely broken. The amount of damage that this thing does is absolutely insane. So we're only using this super on high value targets. What I mean by that is that targets like bosses and champions itself, to really DPS the shit out of them as fast as humanly possible. But if you do not like this build, you do not like the super of this build, like I said before, you can use any super that you want. My advice, of course, the next best thing is, of course, the Glacier's Quake and the Blade Fury. But once again, choose the super that you see fit, which one you love the most playing on your Titan main. Okay, it's all good, it's all available how this build was constructed. Now let's talk about the abilities we are using. For our melee charges, we're using definitely the Frenzy's Blade, because this gives us the 3 stacks of melee charges that we need, because this is still a concentration build. The more charges that we have, the more destructive power we can unleash against our foes. And just a friendly reminder, remember, if you're doing any form of a kill with a Frenzy's Blade, it will give you a tingle, and that tingle then can be used a form of a darkness energy charge. For our grenades, we like to switch between 2 different types. Generically, we like to use, depends on the weapon we are using, we're going to go on later on. We are using, of course, the Shackle Grenade. What this is going to do is going to stop unstoppable champions for us, and at the same time give us darkest energy. We like to combine this with a unique weapon, is a Lock Signal. Why I'm using this, we'll come back later. For the secondary weapon that we like to grenade we like to use, and weapon choice, we like to use the Pulse Grenade. What the Pulse Grenade is going to use is going to do for us, it's going to give us a high DPS AoE effect on the ground itself. It's extremely powerful for add control and of course for DPS output. The Pulse Grenade also going to give us light energy for our Prismatic build itself. We like to combine this with the unique new weapons, the one and only Tannish Mastery. The Tannish Mastery is a brand new weapon received on the Iron Banner itself. What this is going to do, it can give us a chill effect. We are using chill effects and air trigger on this weapon. What this is going to do with 3 shots only, is going to stun every unstoppable and even overload champions. But we'll go very closely on that later on the weapon selections itself. There is the main aspect you will be using for this build. That is concentration. What it does when you're running and sliding while using your sliding melee charge ability, it's going to proc yourself and a hammer attack. The hammer is going to smash them to the ground. It's going to create a destructive solar AoE attack, which is going to scorch the enemy around you. You can repeat this attack 3 times. Now remember, if the enemy is hit with a solar scorch, do not forget to reactivate your charge melee attack again. We are going to recombine this then with a unique other aspect that is called himself knockouts. What this knockout is going to do is it will increase your melee attack power and range for a short duration of time. While you are critical wounded, it will break an enemy shield with your melee attack. It will increase the damage output and the health you get. Your melee kills are also going to proc something that's called amplifier. What this amplifier is going to do is it will increase your movement speed and weapon handling for a short duration of time. But once again, remember, the higher the enemy level or stat kill you have, the more health regen you're going to get. So let's see how much exactly you get eventually. Now, if it comes to the damage HP that you're eventually going to receive, if it comes to red bar enemies, it will grant you approximately around 50% extra XP. For elite enemies you manage to kill is 170% HP you will get, but mini bosses will grant you a 100% increase of HP the moment you manage to kill them. For the damage output you will increase or will get is going to be around 100% if it comes to basic melee damage, around 50% if it comes to charge melee damage, but your long distance is going to increase by 5.5%. Do remember that, it's extremely important. Now, while we have these 2 aspects on, we're going to try to complement them with 5 unique fragments. We'll increase the damage output of our concentration and our knockout. Our very first one on our list is called the Facet of Ruin. The Facet of Ruin, what it's going to do, it will increase the size of a concentration ignition. At the same time, it also will increase the shatter of your crystals itself. It's also going to provide you with a 10% mobility increase. Your second fragment we are going to use is a Facet of Ruin. What this is going to do, it will increase your melee final blows. While this melee final blows is activated, it will increase your health regen. But while you are transcended, your health regen is applied to your allies as well. For our survivability, we are going to use the Facet of Protection. This will truly going to help you survive in endgame contents. What this does actually, while you are in approximately 50 meters of 3 or more enemies, it will give you a staggering 50% increase in damage resistance. But while you are transcended, this damage resistance is increased by a staggering 32% and also provide you with a 10% increase in strength. It's very good if it comes to survivability. Our next and our 4th fragment we are going to use is the Facet of Justice. This, it will make your concentration ability go even bigger. What it's going to do, while you are transcended, your melee final blows will explode. So that's why you see always in a screen that this concentration gives like a bigger area effect. And this is also going to provide you with a 10% increased intelligence. Our last fragment is based on our weapons itself and also our Grandmaster content we do in endgame contents. And that's of course the Facet of Dawn. Power hit against enemy makes your radiance, but power melee final blows will make you and your allies radiant. But in the downswings it decrease your strength by 10%. But let's be fair, strength is a bit useless if it comes to a Titan itself, at least in the PvE content. If it comes to Radiance, remember, once you are Radiant, every single weapon that you will have on will make sure that every barrier champion becomes weak towards it. So that's very important if it comes to Grandmaster that has Radiance champions or barrier champions and the loop itself. So remember that, because this becomes extremely important for yourself and of course your teammates. Now, our go-to-go weapon by far, and for any single content when it comes to Destiny itself, we go with Lost Signal. Lost Signal is a weapon that came from the previous patch itself. And what it does actually is an area denial frame rocket launcher. It creates a 3 pool of lingering, staggering effects, a bit like the Winterhold back in the days. But the difference in this one, it creates like a 3 frames, it attacks like an AoE aspect across the ground itself. It ticks extremely hard, and it is literally the best weapon that you have into the game itself if it comes to creating darkness energy. So if you're not using the lock signal, you will have the most obnoxious and bad time if it comes to scaling your darkness energy extremely fast. So the signal really procs himself extremely fast, and of course it creates the darkness energy even faster. While we're using a form of the perks of this weapon, we are using the auto load reholster and a verbal weapon. What these perks is going to do, the auto load holster is what's going to, the moment you fire your lost signal, you swap yourself to another weapon of your choice for your DPS rotation. Every single time you drop back towards your lost signal, it's going to reload this weapon automatically. Verbal weapon, this is what increases our damage output against bosses itself. And of course for our mods we are using tactical. What this actually going to do, it's going to increase our reload speed and weapon handling. And yes, it does increase it quite often and quite good. It's really a significant difference into this. Now for my secondary weapon of choice, I chose the Sunshot. The Sunshot is a very powerful hand cannon, and what it does, it creates a sunblast, a scorch towards the enemy and nearby enemies surrounding. A form of ad control that is extremely powerful in in-game content. The good thing about this weapon is a solar based weapon. That means this, with my other abilities that I have that are solar based and light based, I can increase my light pull of my prismatic extremely fast, because I'm scorching a lot of enemy around me. I'm also dealing a lot of AoE effect to other enemies around me, so my light based ability, if it comes to prismatic, is really increasing himself as fast, and even sometimes in certain cases even faster than the lock signal itself. Yeah. And my last weapon of choice is of course a chill inhibitor that I like to switch on. And the chill inhibitor that I like to switch with is the Envious Arsenal, and of course bait and switch. If it comes to DPS rotation, I like to switch between the lock signal and of course the chill inhibitor, and in a smooth consecutive way where I can have in both aspects all the time an increase in damage and of course in DPS. The chill inhibitor is a stasis build weapon. What is this going to do as well is going to make sure that I have my stasis. My stasis is going to allow me to increase my darkness energy as well every single time I do damage. Now, if it comes to the weapon mods, what I'm using on my gears itself, in my headpiece I'm using of course a special ammo finder and a solar siphon, because the main weapon that I'm using, of course the secondary weapon I'm using, is a solar base. So every kill I have with that weapon create an orbs for me. So I have this equipped, so it procs himself with sunshots. And my arms piece, of course I'm rocking heavy-handed. Every orb melee thunder blows create an orbs for me. Momentum transfer, causing damage with a grenade reduces your melee cooldown. Impact reduction, causing damage with your powerful melee attack reduces your grenade cooldown. On my chest piece I only put the resistance mods related on the Grandmaster or the event I am doing and in-game content. On my leg pieces I'm rocking of course recuperation. What it does, replenish my health each time you pick up an orb itself. So I'm spraying a lot of orbs on the ground, so this is really helps me quite a lot if it comes to survivability and in-game contents. Absolution is the secondary mods of my leg piece, reduces all the cooldown each time you pick up an orb. Same thing, synergize themselves perfectly with one another. And of course invigoration reduces your melee cooldown each time you pick up an orbs. So all three of them work in a form of a beautiful symbiote with each other, because I'm creating a lot of orbs on the ground with every single thing that I have equipped right now. If it comes to the mark itself, I have of course distribution, reduces all the cooldowns of when I'm using your class ability near targets. To help me a little bit if it comes to absorbing the orbs, I'm having powerful attraction, automatically collect nearby orbs of power when you activate your class ability. So it's really quite handy, so I don't need to go and run after them, so they're literally gonna come towards me. And last but not least, I use Arch Reach, reduces your melee cooldown when using your class ability. For my artifact mods, it really depends on the content I'm using. For the weapon itself, I always have my Scout Rifle mods on if I'm trying to use a Scout Rifle for any form of GM. And I always have, of course, my Overload on if it comes to Overload champions, and because I'm using the Lost Signals 99% of all the time. Additionally, I'm using the authorized mods. This is what it's gonna do. Is increase the charge rate of my melee attacks quite significantly, because I'm concentration. This helps if it comes to the charge rate, and of course when my next melee attack is gonna come back, it's gonna decrease the time of it. I put it to that. Then we're gonna use, of course, the grenade launcher to increase our reload speed as fast as possible. Like I said, we are using, of course, the Lost Signal as 99% of the time. Because we are mostly, if it comes to, depends if I'm using, for example, another super besides the one I'm using right now. If I'm using, for example, the Glacious Quake, then I have, for example, First Armor I can take on. I can have, for example, stasis weapons, because as well the signal is a stasis based weapon, and of course the chill inhibitor is a stasis based weapon. So these type of mods applies themselves towards it. When my first armor is increased, of course, increased like a form of a frost burst. Well, like I used as well, I just like to have it and a source of devour. If I do have a rapid final blow against a weakened enemy, I can proc devour. And then I have, of course, the thick of it. Rapid final blows where I'm surrounded grants me an armor charge, increase my survivability rates. Once again, if it comes to weakening my targets itself and champions overall, I have a concluded reload because it buffs my lock signal, and connected impact because I'm using, of course, the Lost Chill inhibitor, because this shockwave stun the champions as well, and it gives me another source to stun on champions if I'm using, for example, the pulse grenade in place of the shackle grenade for any form of reason whatsoever, if I want to switch, for example, towards the Tannish mastery. So I always have a source of unstoppable burst damage in my arsenal as well. Additional to that, if I'm having any form of arc ability like my pulse grenades, this mod actually buffs all of that moving forwards. Oh, right, my fellow guardians, thank you very much for chilling with me all the way to the end itself. And this official, my second video, build video, becomes the Destiny itself. I am super excited on the journey we are gonna go together, as I'm growing as the Destiny content creator itself and a build crafter, step by fastly. I'm gonna get more used to how the build crafting works within Destiny itself, and of course more in depth, and of course out of the box thinking builds will be constructed itself. That is the generic thing I want to promise towards the family itself, that I will do my ultimate best to create fun builds that is completely off meta, but at the same time extremely strong if it comes to in-game content itself. So bear with me on that as the journey continues, as we are learning more and more about Destiny itself and this beautiful, absolutely stunning game that we all love to enjoy together. Once again, if I don't see you and then during my live streams of this year again, 2024, I wish you every single one of you, of course, and a beautiful final year resolutions, my apologies, and Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, best wishes for yourself and your beautiful family. If you can help me reach, of course, the 100 likes within this video, and of course subscribe as much as you can, share this video as much as you can. It really helps me as a young content creator, of course, and as the Destiny player itself move forward and navigating, of course, the YouTube algorithm. Give me your thoughts in the comments down below, give me your feedback, everything good, no bad. It really helps me grow as a content creator, gamer, build crafter, and of course Destiny enthusiast. Once again, merci beaucoup, and à plus, bonne journée, bonne soirée, joyeux Noël, bonne année, and I hope I can see every single one of you next year, or maybe this year during my live streams, where I do an abundancy if it comes to challenges, and of course GMs. If you ever need help, let me know. My Discord page, I can always gonna be there to help you within the best of my abilities. I will 100% help you when it comes to get yourself the Conqueror's title as well. For the rest, go share a drip. And hopefully you do like my drip as well. Let me know in the comments down below what you think of my drip of my Titans. Follow Titans itself, work on, and stay on the front area, sit in the front line of the battlefields like we all love as Titan itself. See you guys next time, man. One love only, man. Peace.